We've all seen what AI can do, right? It can write code, whip up incredible images, even ace exams. But can it actually understand a simple story? I don't just mean the words on the page, but the feeling, the context, the stuff that we humans get in a heartbeat. Well, that's the real frontier, and today we're diving into the fascinating logic that's teaching machines to finally read between the lines. So, let's get right to the heart of the issue. The thing is, for all its incredible power, AI often trips over the subtle dance of human language. It can crunch billions of words, no problem, but it usually misses those invisible threads, the unspoken connections that turn a bunch of sentences into a real, coherent story.
You want to see exactly what I mean? Let's look at a sentence that seems ridiculously simple to you and me, but for an AI, well, it's a total logical minefield. So, what makes this so tough?
Okay, now what's really interesting here is everything the sentence doesn't say. You and I, we just know the car was waiting because the light was probably red. We get that the green light caused the car to go. But for a traditional AI, these are just two separate events happening near each other. It completely misses the cause and effect, the timeline, the whole mini story packed into just a few words.
All right, so how do we fix this? How in the world do we teach a machine to connect those dots? Well, the answer lies in a really specialized system that was designed for this exact problem.
It's called Episodic Logic, or EL for short. The best way to think about it is as a special framework, a new set of rules for an AI that helps it see not just lonely little facts, but the entire context of a story. Its whole reason for being is to get language understanding right.
And listen, this isn't just some clever idea. It's built on a super serious technical foundation called Foublestar. Now, you absolutely do not need to be a logician to get this. Just know that this is the heavy-duty engine under the hood that lets the AI grapple with the messy, complex situations you find in any story.
So, let's pop the hood and take a look at how episodic logic actually chews on information, because it really is a fundamental shift in how an AI sees the world. And this quote just nails the core concept perfectly. Is the world just a long, boring list of disconnected things that happen? Or is it a series of interconnected scenes, these situations, where things happen together for a reason? Episodic logic is betting everything on that second one.
So here's the big difference laid out. The traditional way of doing things, the Davidsonian approach, it breaks everything down into these tiny little facts. They call them atomic predicates. But episodic logic uses something called situation semantics, which lets it step back and look at the whole messy, complex scene all at once. Let me show you a concrete example.
Imagine you're trying to tell an AI about a party. The old school way would be like a checklist. Fact 1, John arrived. Fact 2, Maria danced. Fact 3, the music played. See? They're all separate. The episodic logic way says, whoa, hold on. There was a situation, let's call it a party, and inside that single situation, all of these things were happening together. It sees the whole picture, the vibe. And because it can see that whole scene, it can do something that is just incredibly powerful. It can start to actually understand causality. It's able to put a label on or characterize the situation. This is how it learns that a green light doesn't just happen near a car moving, it's the reason the car moves. It's a game changer.
So how does it actually do this, technically? It's this really elegant three-step dance. First, it takes in the whole complex situation, our party. Then, for just a moment, it breaks it down into those basic individual facts, Davidsonian style. But, and this is the magic trick, it then logically joins them all back together to formally represent the complete unified scene. It really gets the best of both worlds. All right, so that's the how. Now for the really fun part. What can an AI do with this new way of thinking? What incredible new capabilities does this situational logic actually unlock?
Well, this scene-based approach unlocks 4 major, let's call them superpowers, for understanding stories. And each one tackles a totally different but critical piece of the narrative puzzle. Let's walk through them. First up, it can handle time like a pro. It gets that the car sped off happened after the light turned green. But it also gets that during the party, John's arrival and the music playing could have been happening at the same time. This grasp of before and after versus at the same time is just fundamental to any story. Second, and we've already seen how important this is, it truly gets causality. It goes way beyond just noticing that two things happen close together. It can actually infer that one event made the other one happen, which is, absolutely essential for understanding the plot of, well, anything.
Third, it can tell the difference between different types of actions. For example, it understands that an ongoing action like running doesn't really have a defined end, but a goal-oriented action like running a marathon isn't finished until you cross that finish line. That's a level of nuance that's critical for deep understanding.
And finally, number 4, it maintains context. Information it learns from one part of the scene, like, say, the fact that John has arrived at the party, sticks around. The AI remembers he's there when it later processes that he danced with Maria. Nothing gets lost in the shuffle. It all builds up the big picture. So to wrap it all up, EL's story reading toolkit is just packed. You've got modeling time, understanding what's true within a specific situation, telling different actions apart, and holding on to context from start to finish. You put all those tools together, and you get an AI that can build a much richer, more human-like interpretation of any story you throw at it.
So let's just zoom out for a second. Why does any of this really matter? This is way more than just a cool technical exercise for computer scientists. This is really about the future of how we all interact with artificial intelligence.
Look, the ultimate goal here is to push AI from being a souped-up word processor to a genuine meaning comprehender. It's all about building machines that don't just parrot things back to us, but that actually grasp the context, the nuance, and the logic of our language and our stories.
And that leaves us with a final, really powerful question to think about. I mean, our stories are how we make sense of the world, right? They contain our values, our fears, our greatest hopes. So, if we actually succeed in building an AI that can truly understand them, what will it ultimately learn about us?